Hi, this is Greg Johnson with Blue Book Services, and this is our weekly weekend review. Pamela is on site. I even see a Blue Book
Yeah, there's Frank
booth
back
right in the
there.
background with Frank. So how is the New York show this week?
It seems quite well attended. I have missed the past couple of them. So compared to my previous experience, this seems like a pretty typical show for them. It's just now starting to get a little rumbly as far as breakdown goes. We got about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes left of the show. A lot of talk and tributes for Jim Freedor, who of course passed away a few weeks ago, and including, I mean, my favorite is the hotel key card is Jim Freedor, and that's amazing. I'm sorry, the sponsors for that offshoot, actually they're right across the way. That was really clever of them to do
That was a
that,
good
but
call.
yeah, so we had even the Commissioner of Agriculture brought a letter from the governor for him, and his brother and his wife Debbie, of course, were on hand to just commemorate what he has built here, and it's been a success from what I can tell and from what I've been talking to folks about. So that's basically the buyer panel, which is something that Jim typically hosts during the show, was actually taken over by Wendy Reinhardt Capsack from PBH, and it focused on retail strategies for increasing consumption. And a lot of really interesting insights came out of that, especially from my hometown girl, Lisa Helfman from HEB. Had to have a little shout out for the Texas folk. So I'll have some coverage from that for today's edition.
Well, you've missed a little bit of our coverage of the economics news this week. We've had several stories about reductions in both staff and resources. One of the ones that got a particular notice from our readers was DoorDash letting go of 12,050 workers this week.
That's quite a lot, and I have some questions about that. That it doesn't look like a lot of the coverage has answered. I haven't had time to really dig into it, but I'm wondering, that's got to be corporate staff, because that's not dashers. Because it seems like the folks that are out there doing the fulfillment, that as far as DoorDash deals go, they're one of the companies, just like Grubhub, that has launched partnerships with retailers a lot lately. So that's surprising to me in a way, but only if it was getting rid of the people doing the orders themselves. But you brought up something about DoorDash's profitability that kind of, makes it make sense.
Yeah, according to one analyst and looking at some of their filings, that earlier this year they were only losing 41 cents per order, but that's since risen to 70 cents per order as they've expanded. So uh, I mean, you hate to use the term right sizing, but I mean, the cuts aren't going to give them the profitability. They'll have to find another way. And, some of this technology stuff, we see it in CEA too. I mean, the investments is the easy part and getting ramped up, but being profitable, that's, that's still a huge challenge.
Well, and we've talked about this before, especially as it pertains to grocery delivery. And people have gotten spoiled by Walmart Plus and Amazon Prime and thinking that delivery and shipping is free, and it absolutely isn't. So these services, and we've had actually seen some research before. I can't remember who it was that sent out that research that was like a really complicated chart, but it showed the amount of time that people were willing to delay receiving a grocery order versus the amount of money that they can save on their order. So we're going to have to start seeing charges, like per delivery charges, because these flat rate things incentivize people to overuse it and for retailers to lose money. So we're going to have to start seeing more charges for delivery and longer wait times for things. It's not on demand, and it's not going to be on demand if it's going to be profitable.
No, and such a different business model than what we see with Amazon and UPS trucks running down our street every day. I mean, they can have all kinds of inventory in one truck and make lots of runs. And with perishables, you can't do that.
Right.
It
And
doesn't seem like it's not nearly as scalable.
yeah, yeah. And honestly, the way that they shoestring a lot of this stuff together by using third-party workers and third-party delivery people, I get a fair amount of Black Friday shopping on my 13-hour drive home from Missouri. And I ordered some stuff from Walmart.com that showed up before I even got home, and it was delivered by somebody's car. And it must have been, it was delivered from my local store in somebody's car like 2 hours after I ordered it. And I'm like, how did they make money on that? There's no way. So some of these realities, we're gonna get hooked. I think they're hoping we're gonna get hooked on it, and then eventually we won't want to give it up, so we'll start paying for it.
Yeah, first one's free is a pretty cynical business model that's worked well. The drug trade.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to use that as our model.
I don't think it's quite that addictive.
Well, you also had a story that garnered quite a few views, and I think is worth some analysis. A PACA case could go to the Supreme Court. What would that do?
It's
Yeah.
possible. So there's a lot of layers to this. The most important message is that the PACA trust is not under threat. There's some disagreement among courts about what charges are dischargeable in a bankruptcy case. And some courts say that PACA charges are not, and some say they are. And so that has led to circuit courts making different rulings. And so one remedy would be to take it up to the next court. We'll actually find out within days whether or not they take that. Whether if they do, of course, it'll be big news. If they don't, there could still be another one down the road that will do this. And I'm not a we cover PACA, of course, but I rely on PACA attorneys to give us info. And Mark Amendola, who's done it for over a quarter century, was our source on this story. And those are the types of people we'll check in on. But we will definitely cover this because it's important to the industry, and Blue Book does our own trading assistance and dispute resolution. So it's certainly important to our readers.
Yeah. And I mean, on that note, I mean, I've got a tours tomorrow. I haven't decided whether I'm going to Hunts Point or to Arrow Farms. It all depends on how much time I've got. But the show is not over here in New York, but this one is. So that's it for the Produce Reporter Weekend Review. That was smooth. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.
Enjoy New York.
Yeah, Germany's out of the World Cup, so I guess I'm USA now for sure, 100%.
We got other countries that we can root for.
I'm also France, but you can't cheer for someone to repeat, I guess, is what my boys tell me. It's not fair.
It's not as fun. I've always been a Holland fan, and they're matching up with USA, so that's really gonna
The house divided.
Yes, that's right. Your heart always knows when the game starts who you're rooting for.